There have been some amazing fragrances released in just the last year. However, the first three I'm going to highlight here, unless you want to waste your money, I think you should avoid them, which is really unfortunate because they come from brands that, well, I expected a bit more. So, what are the fragrances I'm talking about? Dior Sauvage Eau Forte. If you haven't seen this fragrance, they mixed it with water, not alcohol. They've got a proprietary system for doing this because naturally oil should not mix with water. The result is a milky looking liquid that unfortunately pools together on the skin and easily forms droplets which leave a sticky residue on the skin. Now the fragrance itself is a musky aromatic lavender with a powdery feel. Now the scent itself isn't bad, but expectations were not met. And for that reason, I got to throw this into my dust collector category. Another fragrance from a very popular house I'm going to pan, Acqua di Gio's Profondo Parfum. Now, the issue here is expectations. I have all the Acqua di Gio's, I have all the Profondos, Profondo Lights, and the original Profondo, which are both beautiful fragrances that I personally love. So when I saw the Parfum, I'm thinking, man, this thing's going to be deeper, it's going to be richer, it's going to be heavier, it's going to have more longevity. Well, all of that, I guess, is debatable, but for me, this thing does not last as long, it doesn't have as much projection, and it's not as deep as the original. Now, I do find it sweeter, and the marine notes are a bit more pronounced, but I'm just thinking, guys, keep it simple. When something says Parfum, just strengthen the juice, make it stronger, give me what I expect. So yeah, for me, another fragrance is going to collect dust. I am throwing this in my lowest category. Now this next fragrance is making a heck of a lot of money for Polo, and that is their new established 67. It's a very simple aromatic citrus wood that's incredibly likable, and I'm thinking if you're looking to get a gift for a teenager, this would be a great fragrance to give them. However, there is no creativity here because it's a straight up copy of Yves Saint Laurent's Myself Eau de Parfum. Now that fragrance has become one of the best sellers in the last couple years, and I see why Polo as a business decision would do this, but for me this is going to be a dust collector because I already have the original that this is cloned off of. Now speaking of Yves Saint Laurent, what about the new Le Parfum? Now if you don't own the EDP, you're a man in your 30s, 40s, or 50s, and you like the DNA, you want something, yeah, that Polo sounds for teenagers, then this one is going to be the one you want to grab. The Le Parfum is a darker, sexier, more sophisticated version of the original. Is it unique? No. Does it smell great? Yes. But since there were so many other great releases, I can't give this one too much love, so I'm going to throw this into the good but forgettable category. Now this next fragrance was a little bit harder for me to categorize. I know a lot of people, again, because of expectations, have panned this fragrance. The fragrance I'm talking about is Chanel's new release, Super Leggera, which basically means super light. I personally have been holding out for the Bleu de Chanel Elixir, but they surprised us with this release in the Homme line. And really, this one takes me back to one of the first Chanel fragrances I ever purchased, Allure Homme Cologne. Now again, like a lot of you guys, I wanted something else, but you know what? For what this fragrance is, it's good. It was hot outside. I wore it for an entire week. This was a solid wingman. So for that reason, I got to throw this into that category. Now at this point, you may be asking, come on, Antonio, give me a fragrance that you do like. One that exceeded expectations. Well, I've actually got a few that fit that definition. So first up, we've got Azzaro's, The Most Wanted Intense. A citrus lavender mossy fragrance with a bit of spice. This was one of those hidden gem releases that most people aren't talking about that me personally, I think is amazing. And yes, I know some people have compared it to Yves Saint Laurent's Myself, but you can definitely tell the difference. This one is more masculine. It's got cojones. And so for that reason, I'm throwing this into the Divine Essence category. Next up, we've got the new Invictus Parfum, an aromatic musky marine with a bit of soap. In general, I've stayed away from the Invictus line because I felt it was too synthetic. Somehow with this one, they blended it better and it just comes off beautifully. In fact, this is going to be a compliment monster. If you're looking for a warm weather fragrance that's going to turn heads, this is the one. So yeah, this one is going right into the Divine Essence. Now, one of the reasons I thought this last year was amazing for new releases is there were so many good citrus fragrances. So this is Parfums de Marley's Perseus. It's a citrus woody aromatic with a very prominent, very strong grapefruit. Now there's a lot of other notes listed, and after a couple hours you do get past the strong citrus and you get down to the nice woody base. And I have to admit, it's that citrus, it's that opening that I absolutely love. And if it didn't remind me so much of Dolce&Gabbana's Forever, I probably would have ranked it higher. But yeah, I'm going to put this one right in the middle, and I'm going to say it's a solid wingman. Now this next fragrance is going into my highest level category. I'm not going to put a whole lot of fragrances in there. And I have to admit, this one barely made it in, but I've just been loving it. The name is spot on, and it's just got a fresh, clean opening that I love to smell again and again. The fragrance I'm talking about, Versace Eros Energy. Now the notes here are interesting. You notice all the different citruses across the top. I definitely get the lemon, bergamot, even a bit of the orange. But I have to say what knocks this one into the next category is that bit of pepper and the nice soft musk at the base, which is there. And I have gotten compliments 2 days after wearing this fragrance. And as a guy with over 600 fragrances in his collection, the fact that I wore this for like 3 to 4 days straight, well, that says something. So yeah, Versace Eros Energy, going to God tier. Now, if you're watching this and thinking, Antonio, come on, you got all these designer fragrances. How about something niche? All right, let's pull in Mes Bisous' A Wonderful Flight. This is a beautiful citrus. It's going to be a little bit more complex than Eros Energy. It has a beautiful top, but it also has an earthier base that you can pick up within the first hour of wearing it. And like all Mes Bisous fragrances, it comes in this really cool container that basically looks like a book. And then it opens up and boom, you got the fragrance right there. And perhaps my favorite from that house, Flirting with Vanilla. Now, gents, if you're looking to buy fragrances online, you want to make sure you get the real deal. If you're looking for niche, hard to find fragrances, then you want to get over to Max Aroma. Fragrances like M. Micallef. I've talked about the original Desire Toxic. This is the new Desire Toxic Intense. It's an aromatic, warm, spicy, green citrus fragrance that's very unique. As some of you guys know, I don't normally like a cannabis note. This thing is blended beautifully. Also in that house, Red Colorado and Gin Tonic, both of those absolutely beautiful. And the best thing about Max Aroma is you can get samples before you buy a full-on bottle. And again, Max Aroma carries fragrances from niche houses from around the world. So this fragrance right here, Wanderlust from Oman Luxury. Gents, this green fruity fragrance is unique. And if you're tired of smelling like everyone else, you want something fresh, crispy, and green, I advise you check this one out. And the fragrance I'm wearing today, Copper Incense, except in French, by Ojar Fragrances. Gents, look at the note profile. Designer fragrances aren't going to put out anything like this. With the weather cooling down here, I was drawn to this fragrance with that frankincense, with that Brazilian rosewood. Absolutely beautiful. So gents, check out the link in the description of today's video. Go over and check out Max Aroma. Now, if you haven't picked up on it, a ranking like this is incredibly subjective. Seriously, some of the fragrances I call dust collectors could be ones that you absolutely love. And there's nothing wrong with that. Let's take Paco Rabanne's Phantom Intense. This one was a letdown for me, so I'm going to put it as a dust collector. I thought the first one, when it came out, was groundbreaking. The second one was better mixed, but this one, it seems like it reverted. It seemed like they took away what made the other one so original, and they went to something that was, yes, this will get you compliments. Yes, this one smells nice, but the other ones were so much cooler. Another dust collector for me is going to be the H24 Hermes Vives. Now, I really wanted to like this, and did I pronounce? Yeah, I don't even bother pronouncing this thing correctly because, let's face it, I'm just never going to wear these fragrances. I love the original H24. I would put that at God mode. But this one right here, I got to put as a dust collector because they took the moss in the EDP and they just amplified it. It's more earthy. And again, some guys are going to love this fragrance. For me, yeah, it's just not something I'm going to ever put on. And again, expectations are so important. This next fragrance came from one of my favorite houses. I've always got high expectations for the house of Tom Ford. However, this one right here, I felt was the weakest in the ombre leather line. That is going to be Eau de Ombre. Now, the original was a bit harsh. The Parfum, absolutely beautiful. This one, I mean, it's good, but it seems to be missing the DNA of the original, and it just doesn't have the same oomph to it. So it's good, but forgettable. Now, this next fragrance I know was released a while back, but I want to bring it in anyway because I didn't have anything else from Coach, and it's one of the newest releases, Green. I really like this one. This is a solid wingman. I got to throw it right in the middle. And you don't see too many green fragrances that have the kiwi note. It's fruity. It's attractive. This is going to get you compliments. It is a green fragrance that a lot of men would just love to wear, and I think should. The same thing with Montblanc's Legend Blue. This one just came out, and the red was pretty forgettable. This one, you know, Legend is very easy to wear fragrances, and Montblanc ain't doing anything new, so the expectations were relatively low. But this thing slightly exceeded expectations. It's fresh, it's pleasant, it's going to get you a compliment, it punches above its weight. For that reason, I'll put this one as a solid wingman. Now, the next fragrance I'm going to talk about is the third in its line, and it is the best. When the EDT originally came out a couple years ago, I thought it was renamed. I talked about that whole story. When the EDP came out, it was a big improvement. But this new one, the Intense, I'd have to say is the best. So Dolce&Gabbana's K Eau de Parfum Intense. When you look at the accords, relatively simple. You've got that sweetness in there with the saffron and the fig, and the leather and the woods give it a bit of masculinity. I do like this fragrance, and I think it's a head turner. So for that reason, I'm going to put this fragrance in at the second highest category, Divine Essence. So now let's talk about a couple more good but forgettables. First up, we got Yves Saint Laurent's Y Elixir. Now, if you like lavender, if you like wood, which most people do, this fragrance is perfectly fine. But for an elixir and for what they're charging, guys, I just expected a bit more from this house. So yeah, it's good, but easily forgettable when you look at the entire line, which the line is fine. It's a crowd-pleasing line, but yeah, this one doesn't really do anything for me. Same thing could be said about Rain Essence from Bvlgari. This, I was just expecting so much. It's Rain Essence. You're expecting it to smell like rain, or at least it's a little bit too earthy. I didn't get enough of the rain. In fact, I really didn't get any of the rain, which is disappointing because I love how it smells after a good rain here in the Midwest, and this wasn't even close. And so for that reason, yeah, I mean, it's not a dust collector. It's a unique fragrance, but yeah, it's good, but easily forgettable. And speaking of dust collectors, let's go ahead and throw 1 million gold under the bus. Again, there's a lot of other fragrances in this line, and I think if you've never smelled a 1 million fragrance, this is probably not the one you want to smell because it's pretty much a copy of Santel 33. But yeah, it didn't smell like a 1 million of Paco Rabanne. I expected more. The longevity is not that great. Yeah, skip this one. Now, this next fragrance is going to probably surprise some of you guys, but hey, it's a personal preference. I love coconut. I love tropical islands, and this fragrance right here is just so beautiful, so wearable, and the more that I wear it, the more I love it. I'm talking about Jean Paul Gaultier's Le Beau Paradise Garden. I feel with a couple sprays, you could wear this into the office in the winter when you're thinking about escaping to a tropical island. It's just nice. And yes, it barely gets into Gaultier. I probably could have put it at Divine Essence, but I got a lot of the other ones I'm going to put it at Divine Essence. So yeah, I decided to give this one a little bit of a boost. And again, it's a great fragrance. It's unique. If you don't have a fragrance like this in your collection, look to add it. Next up, we've got a fragrance from Carolina Herrera, and that is going to be Bad Boy Cobalt Elixir. An earthy, fresh, spicy vanilla with a bit of wood. This is a really nice fragrance. And I really wrestled with putting it into a solid wingman, but because of that unique truffle note, and I really do like the smell of this one, I believe it's an improvement. I'm going to go ahead and knock this one up to Divine Essence. It's a solid pickup, one of the best. It's the better of the cobalts. And straight up, it's fragrances like this that really deserve, I think, to be more in the solid wingman category. So the entire Hero collection, I think, is above expectations. When I first saw this in Burberry in general, I wasn't expecting much, but every single fragrance they've put out are solid picks. Now, nothing about the Hero collection is groundbreaking or unique, but that's why I really like these. These would make great gifts. And like you would think, the EDT is going to be the lightest, the EDP a bit stronger. And this parfum follows the tradition. It is the darkest. It is the richest. It's going to have the longest longevity. And even though I haven't gotten compliments with this one, I've read the reviews. I've seen what other people are saying. A lot of people are just getting compliments with this thing. So give it a shot. Especially, I love the fact that you can walk into usually any box store and you can find this one. Yeah, Burberry did a good job with this one. Now, this next fragrance is definitely a Divine Essence, but I was still a little bit disappointed with it because I feel the house was holding back on us. I know they're probably going to come out with another variation of it, which will be stronger, which they have done with everything. But we're talking about Viktor and Rolf Spice Bomb, and this is their dark leather. Now, despite the fact that for a Spice Bomb, this doesn't have much longevity, which for that is like 6 hours, and it doesn't project as much, I'm still going to put this as a divine scent because Viktor and Rolf kicks butt when it comes to unique fragrances that basically grab people's attention when you walk into a room. And the pepper's there, the cinnamon's there, the black leather with the tobacco, yeah, you can pick that up. It's just my only reservation with this is, man, they should have made it stronger. I guess I can overspray and just, wear more of it. But yeah, this one is nice. Now, this next one that's going to be in Gaultier is coming from a Spanish house. I don't talk about them too often, but I want to give them a little bit of props, and that is going to be Loewe, and we're talking about Essentia Elixir. So straight up, if you have smelt Creed Absolute Aventus, this is a clone of that fragrance. So even though I'm putting this at God tier, I do got to say, I understand what they're doing here, but hey, I love the fact that they can bring that very expensive fragrance to the masses with a fragrance that's absolutely beautiful. It's got good longevity, decent projection. In fact, it projects, I think, better than the original Aventus Absolute. In fact, some people have said that this is what Absolute wanted to be when it grew up. Other people say it's a horrible chemical mess. Again, I find for the price, you can take a chance on this, and I'm very happy with it. But let me know if you agree, disagree in the comments below. But yeah, this is sneaking into God tier. Now, this next fragrance is a dust collector. It's brand new, but I just wasn't impressed. And that's going to be Valentino Umo's Born in Roma Gold. So I've got pretty much all the fragrances from this house. And I have to say that this was just redundant. Yes, it's sweet. It's got a vanilla note to it, which a lot of people are going to like it. And if you don't own any of the Valentino Umo fragrances, you may actually pick this up and say, hey, this is great. Which is why I want to emphasize that when I talk about all these fragrances and I rank something low, it doesn't mean you won't like it. It just simply means that for me, I just wasn't impressed. It wasn't something, and yeah, it's something I'd skip. And this is one. Now, again, there's another one in this house I'm going to talk about here in a few minutes, which was friggin' amazing and blew me away. But this one, yeah, I would skip. So this next fragrance, I'm going to put in the good but forgettable category. Now, some of you guys are going to smell it and you'll be like, Antonio, are you stupid? And yes, you're probably smarter than me and you probably have a better nose. But for me, I really did like the original Scandal with the caramel note, and the parfum was really nice as well. This one, the Absolute, it was okay. It wasn't bad, but it was forgettable. It just reminded me of a lot of other fragrances I have. It's woody, fruity, warm, spicy, and I really wanted to pick up that unique Mirabelle note, but I just didn't get it. And by the way, if you've watched this far and you're thinking, Antonio, what do you do with all these extra fragrances that you have? Because I am giving away my fragrance collection. Well, guys, that's over at the Brotherhood of Scent. I'll put a link in the description. That's our amazing community of frag heads that we have over on the school platform. So go check it out. Not only am I giving away my fragrance collection, but we've got free courses. You can shoot the shit with other frag heads. People share where they get their best deals. But yeah, it's a solid community. And usually I'm giving away a fragrance a week and they're absolutely free. So the two fragrances I would put in that wingman category, Givenchy Gentleman Society Extreme and Prada's Luna Rossa Ocean Le Parfum. Now the Society EDP Extreme, the accords here are going to be woods with a bit of powder, aromatic, coffee, and a touch of vanilla. Mostly what I get is nutmeg and vanilla. It does remind me of the original Society, which actually was a very good fragrance. Sweet, comforting, with a reminder even of Dior Homme. This one, yeah, is a solid wingman. Now with the Prada Ocean Le Parfum, we get the accords of woods, amber, warm spice with a bit of citrus. It's a very versatile, deep, rich, sweet fragrance. Notice the saffron note there. Again, the issue they've got here with this fragrance is they misnamed it. I don't know why it has the Ocean name in it. All that being said, I do like the fact that this one is different than the other flankers in the line. It probably should have been called Elixir. It's, yeah, a really nice fragrance. And again, a solid wingman. So jumping over to Divine Essence, let's go ahead and bring up right here. We've got this Gucci Guilty Elixir de Parfum. We've got vanilla with a bit of floral, warm, spicy, amber, powder, iris. Understand that this is a floral fragrance. Not every guy's going to go for it. I do recommend that you smell it first, wear it before you go out there and buy a full bottle. But it's a Gucci fragrance. It's well blended. It's a solid pickup if you're into this type of fragrance. And I do think it is a beautiful fragrance. So yeah, for that reason, it's going to Divine Essence. Now, this next fragrance is a God tier, by the way, was one of the more surprising fragrances that I didn't expect to like. The notes are pretty simple, as you can see here. Overall, a relatively simple fragrance, but that combination I thought was absolutely beautiful. It surprised me coming out of the line. It did, because in general, I find most of their fragrances uninspiring. But yeah, I got to give props where props are due. And the fragrance I'm talking about is Valentino Umo's Born in Roma Green Stravaganza. Masculine, fun, green, creamy, and I love that mix of the citrus with the coffee. It shouldn't go together, but in this case, it does. In fact, the only issue I have with this fragrance is the longevity. Could be a bit longer, maybe it could project more, but just spray a bit more on. It is a really unique, nice fragrance, and for that reason, I'm putting this one at the top, God tier. All right, Jen, so what video to watch next? Come on, you know I got you covered. Another fragrance video. Yeah, come on, dive into it. Boom, right there. Check it out. Oh yeah, how to smell good, how to keep smelling good all day. Come on, I got you covered.